camping again, but this time we're only 10 minutes from home. And the reason is we've got, well, one of the reasons is we've got commitments in Inverness, and we're doing a bit of pet sitting for somebody last week and this week. And the other reason is we just sometimes do this anyway, because 10 minutes or 10 hours, you still get that feeling of being divorced from the problems that a house brings you. You know, you've got a few square metres of ground in your van and that's it. So we're at Culloden at the Caravan and Motorhome Club site. As I say, it's 10 minutes from home. It's standard fare Caravan and Motorhome Club toilets and facilities, but you do have a forest behind you and a field of sheep in front of you. There's mountains, you know. It's just a nice peaceful site, we find. There's a road running over there, but it does quieten down at night, and it's a B road anyway. For visitors who are coming here perhaps and never been, the benefit of having the road there is the bus stops there as well, just along the road from the campsite to Inverness, and you can actually walk to Culloden Battlefield in about 30 minutes. Peaceful site, enough said about that. So I thought what we might do just now is have a look through our van, not a van tour, it's a 6-metre van, and look at all the little jobs we've done, the little changes we make, because it might be useful to somebody. So let's have a wee quick rip through our van and see what's doing. I suppose one of the first things is the windbreaks we've just bought. You know, finally found windbreaks that'll actually stand up to some wind. It's pretty windy outside, so I was cowering behind them. Let's have a look. So it's quite a gusty winds today, about 20 mile an hour, but this Dometic Pro Windbreak 1 is doing the business. Now you can buy it as a 3-piece or a 1-piece, and we've bought 2 1-piece sections because we felt that would be more useful for us. I like it so much I've just ordered another 2. I think it'll be ideal in Spain. Insulation in the back doors. Now these vans, we bought this, it's not a self-build obviously. If people are self-building them, you'll have seen on YouTube how much insulation they put in. These vans, nothing like that. Maybe there's some top-end manufacturer that is putting in a lot of insulation, but not in my experience. Rona sleeps here. Quite often we're facing this way towards the back door. Got up one morning, popped the panel to insulate it, and there's condensation right there. Yeah, inside. Nowhere else, just there where she'd been breathing. So definitely worth doing. You buy the stuff in B&Q. There is stuff on YouTube about it, videos on YouTube. You can get you just rip it, pack it in. What I will say, there's a little natural ledge along the bottom of these doors. And I didn't pack under that because, you know, if there's moisture, it'll run out through the drain holes. So that's that. That's where we hang our awning winder, by the way, there. I feel I could have gone slightly higher with it, but that'll do. I've also made, I made some, and these are just old yoga mats and stuff, threw them in for a bit more insulation. I think I'm going to improve that later. Another wee quickie. These little baskets you get in B&M, dead handy for hanging over the back door, and Rona puts her phone and her Kindle and so on and that. Another one, Christmas lights, but these are 24 volt, not 12 volt. We plug them into the mains, and it's because it's a good indicator if your electricity's gone off. I suppose the other thing is we were used to motorcycle touring, so it's lightweight gear we use, no big jackets, we're layering with, you know, base layer, thick fleece, waterproof kind of thing. So we get everything we need for 9 days typically in here. Well, I'm on this side, Rona's on the other side. We found these have been ideal. So Mackie or whatever, Field Conqueror 35 litres. We've got one of these each, and we find these are ideal from taking all our stuff from the house to here, but then taking with us if we're away for the day when we're in Spain or wherever we are. They just stash away up there. I don't even try to fold them too well. That's the thing, you know, we thought we were going to organise ourselves and we were going to get everything tidy, and never did it. Never did it. Never had to. One of the things I think I might do in the future is put in a better charge controller, but we're on campsites all the time, we're not wild camping. It may just do the job. Now we've obviously got an aerial socket here, and this would normally be plugged into it, but at the moment I'm hooked up to the site TV, got to watch Coronation Street, you know, so that's looking a bit raggedy, but normally this would just be plugged into that. And the reason is, although we've got a TV bracket here, I've run a TV cable through the service tunnel which runs behind the toilet, and it pops up at the other end of the van, which I'll show you shortly. Now here, under that mesh cage, is the inlet for the blown air heater, which is underslung, takes its air from inside the van. Two things, you could block that very easily, and also the top cap comes off if it gets knocked at all, leaving the thing wide open. So this cage, which is just these cable ties onto the bottom of this, stops that happening. That's rigid in there. On this side, the pipework from the underslung heater comes into the van, so I've built this box to protect what is like cardboard tubing the pipe it is really, and it gives us a wee bit of storage on top as well. That's useful. And the other thing I would say about these is a lot of people have taken these legs away and put slats right across there. I find this has actually been quite useful because it gives us a degree of separation. On this side you'll see our seats are out just now, but normally they'd come to about here, these folding umbrella chairs we have. Now obviously that stops it falling over that side, the chairs. And on this side, if I can show you, and on this side it's just a bit of ply, cable tied to here, and it stops the chairs falling this way. So for me, this frames are a help. By the way, under there's also the beer store. I had to remove 2 crates of beer to get in there. So this is the cupboard just in front of the bed under the fridge. Now, a lot of people shelve this out, but because we're using campsites all the time, we've got quite big toilet bags we need to cart about with us. You know, our stuff's not in the little bathroom, so that's a good place for them. Now, normally there'd be 2 of these boxes. This is a really useful 22 litre box from the Really Useful company. I'd have another one on top of this, which would have the toiletries and wipes and things that we would take. There's a little bit of 22mm bead here, which stops us moving too far forward, so it doesn't knock the door. And in here is an old clicky stove case, which is where I actually keep our spare gas bottles for the Kadak. The other thing that happened to this was this had a self-closer on it, and this isn't even wood, is it? It's some sort of composite. My screws just couldn't handle it, so I've actually drilled them like so. It might not look too neat. It does the job. In the toilet we put a couple of these stick-on hooks, which is really handy for drying towels. Now, we don't really use the van for showering, but it has a shower rail, and we do carry a shower curtain and hoops. So that we could have a shower if we wanted to. Should maybe mention this quickly in the toilet cabinet. We carry our hand wash and stuff like that here, but this is a caravan has obviously got usually got a separate flush tank for its toilet, but these don't. So if you've got no water on board because it's the middle of winter and it's freezing, we just carry that one, these bottles, use it as a flush for travelling. We're travelling quite a lot in the winter. We know. Well, we're travelling quite a lot in the winter, freezing conditions, so I quite often don't have water. This is breakfast dishes here, but this is a drying mat, which when we're travelling goes under the lid of the cooker, the glass lid of the cooker, because they rattle badly. Dish towel here, this rattles badly when you're travelling. Dish towel over there, push it under there when we're travelling, that stops that. When we were in Spain, we showed you the Ramosca and how we keep it in the oven. All the shelving's out of here. This is the Ramosca wrapped in a towel. This is pretty common, this cutting board. The one you get with the van sits well prouder here, so it's a bit unstable if you're putting things on it. It's obviously made, the one you get with the van's obviously made from a bit of spare material from drawers or something. Get this one online, it's a lot thinner, it fits nearly flush. The problem I'm having with it, it's a little bit too flexible for me, so I'm looking for one about maybe a millimetre thicker than that. Would be a better fit, I think. Now this, I think, is one of the things that's made a huge difference to us, is a TV bracket here. So we can sit in our chairs and watch the TV. The TV's small enough it doesn't fill a cupboard or anything like that. So I'll take this off and show you quickly what I done to make that bracket. So this is just bits of beading you get from B&Q. This doesn't even go all the way down to the bottom, it just goes so far down. Now the trick is to get a bit that is just wider than that gap, because these will pull forward slightly, the steel frame for the seat, and it will hold that in place. The cross piece is just so that every time I put it in, it will sit correctly. It won't go down any further than that either, you know. You buy the plates obviously for the TV online, no problem at all. It's just a little bit of ply screwed onto it. Now this wasn't fixed to the wall, and what I was finding was it would pull away slightly. No problem, easily it would pull away. No problem just to put the TV on and watch it, but I really wanted to leave the TV on while I'm driving. So these are just these little sticky tabs you get for these hooks to stick to a wall, and that just holds that fine without drilling holes. I'll stress there's no holes drilled through the wall here. Nothing fixed to this wall. It's this that's holding it. Works great. And there's the TV aerial, which I said I'd run through the service tunnel which goes under the toilet. We just plug that in, and I run this off a 24 volt. So there's the plug for it down there, the black one. Yeah. When we were in Spain, we had a look at the extra long 12 volt cable I've got, which is actually so I can inflate the tyres using the van's 12 volt, the domestic 12 volt rather than the battery, starting battery 12 volt. Of course, if I wanted to, if I was wild camping, I could run that 12 volt cable from the back and run the TV off of that. We've also plugged into this 24 volt socket here. This is just run up here behind the chairs, this chair, velcroed on, and then I use this 4-gang one velcroed to the side here. Now we because we're in storage, we don't have time to do everything elaborate. Obviously it's only like this TV is the most powerful thing that's run off of this. I wouldn't plug a kettle into it or anything serious. It's mainly just for USB charging. And this little box here I call the charging box. Now it's just an insert from one of these really useful boxes. But what I've done is, if you can see that, I've got a little cable ties connected to the frame for the seat and a little carabiner here connecting that, so this can move around a bit, not a lot, a bit, but it's not going anywhere, so that's quite handy. This has got this in Tesco's. This is quite handy because it allows us to plug in USBs with shorter cables to here rather than have to go all the way back to there. Or the Netgear, that's another useful thing. We found that to be absolutely brilliant. I bought the aerial that everybody buys with it as well. I wouldn't bother, quite honestly, never used it. It's lying in a box in the back of the van there. But that has been a real boon for us. Now, one of the things I know that everybody struggles with in a van is rattles, you know. So I've found these are little felt pads that you get in craft shops, and I've used them everywhere. This is under the extension table. It was a terrible rattler. Fixed it there. Over there, that little door that opens, that was a terrible rattler as well. That's got these pads under it. Absolutely brilliant things. Yeah, so aside from these felt pads, you know, the other things is, I think what everybody else uses, loads of tea towels. You need loads of them packed into boxes and anywhere, anything that's going to rattle. The plates, everything. A couple of little baskets here we got in Woolies, really handy for dividers. Rather than shelf it out, we did that. It works better for us. Unless you put in taller things that you couldn't if it was shelved. Yeah, the old carpets are removed. We showed you this in Spain, and these mats. I don't know if everybody does this, but it's easier to take 3 mats out than it is a big long runner to give it a beat or a clean. We put extra mats, you know, in the driving area there and there, because that's where we find we put our shoes. Whatever shoes we're not using, that's where we find we put them. Extra mats, £2 a piece in Tesco's. And coats and jackets, because we were motorcycling, we're used to travelling light, so you know, we layer, no big jackets, no room for them, so we layer hanging in the door there, normally throw them in the bed when we're travelling. I found that's a useful place for these lightweight chopping boards, and behind there. And then we've got the silver screens, essential for us, you know, too hot, too cold, lovely, doesn't matter, they go on, because if it's on the van, it's not taking up space. First thing we do is put that on. The other thing I've got is a good quality mirror protectors. Now this is the ones that they call like a crash helmet for your mirrors. Are they worth it? Well, they have been for us. Reason being, somebody clipped us just a few days ago, you know, slightly on the wrong side of the road in a van they were, and they've broke our indicator thing. I'll need to get a new one of them. You probably can't see this, but it's almost like a slight crack there now on the protector itself, but it'll still be fine. It'll still work. Tyres, well, we have the camper tyres. They can run at 79 psi. Now, people have got all sorts of theories about these. I run them at 79 psi. I find if I put less air in them, the van just doesn't handle well at all. It just squirms all over the road. So I run that at 79 and it's fine. Now, there's only 2 things I really want to do, and one of them is to protect the water pump a little bit. We put like cables, there's a light in there, there's a dustpan and brush. A little bit of plywood, I'll just do that and cable tie it to whatever structure's there, water pumps there. And the other thing is we keep a folding basin in there. We're careful putting in and out, but I'm going to make a little shelf there that'll hold that and keep it above the water heater and so on. Yeah, and for security we've got everything. We've got the steering lock, we've got a clutch claw, we've got the alarm systems. We use motion detection cameras in the van, run off little battery packs, you know, so that it's not run off the mains if somebody just pulled the electric. Ready-use bottle opener. This little folding table we find useful if you just want to put a couple of bottles of beer on it, but also a Kadak sits on that nicely. Oh yeah, and although I have just purified the water tanks, we generally don't drink the water out of tanks. We carry one of these 2-litre bottles. We find that's good. And we carry other stuff. We carry a shade cloth that we bought in Spain, and paracord so we can tie the corners, and we can pretty much utilise that anywhere we want, you know. The wind out awning, you know, it's not really going to provide a lot of shade without something on the sides or the front. You'd imagine they would, wouldn't you? But they don't really. We also have a watertight bag that has a ground sheet in it that just fits in front of the side door of the van here. That's useful in Europe, of course, because a lot of the campsites aren't gravel, you know, and especially in Spain, it can be compressed dirt or sand or anything. So it's really handy to have something so you're not dragging too much into the van. So one of the most useful things is the plastic folding bucket. Now we don't generally shower in the van. We're set up so we could, but we're on campsite, so we generally don't. So I find that what's going into the waste tank is really just hand wash water from washing our hands in our little toilet, you know. So about every 3 days I'll put that bucket under the drain from the waste tank and just drain it off, and then put it down there, whatever the campsite wastewater is, you know. And it means I don't have to spend time waiting to go on to water point, waste points. You know, sometimes there's 2 or 3 people waiting to get on one of them. So hopefully that's a decent enough wee quick run through about some of the stuff that we've done and changed, and might be of some use to somebody. I just managed to get it back in time, because here's ourselves coming back and the piece will be shattered now. So how did the cat nap and go? I mean, what were you doing? Cat sitting?
Cat sitting was fine. Got a cuddle.
Oh, good.
Which is the first stream cuddle. Was quite happy with that.
This has got to be the best March weather I remember. It's like Spain, isn't it? It's like sitting in Spain.
It's April.
April.
That's why it's the best March weather.
It's confusing, isn't it? Jeez, see, this doesn't happen until you show up. I think that was quite eloquent. It's very like Spain, but we're going to use the Oscar today, aren't we?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe, although we did a couple of wee recipe things in Spain, I hesitate to call them recipes. What we probably should have said, that you know these Tesco things you get in the little foil containers, you used to get 3 for 10 quid back in the day.
Yeah.
Didn't you?
Yeah.
Probably 2 for 10 now. You get a little chicken joint in them or a little gammon joint, you can throw them straight in the foil tray. Mm-hmm. You just fold the corners up slightly to make it fit. Mm-hmm. But today we've got lamb shanks and a red wine sauce and potato, microwave mashed potato. Yeah. And the main thing is, I've done all the work while you were relaxing watching that cat. That's what's happened. I've been running up and down there with buckets of water and all sorts of stuff. I was saying what a boon this windbreak's been.
Oh, definitely.
And I've actually got another 2 coming now. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think in Spain, with the higher winds in Spain, in the Spanish videos we were showing how variable the weather can actually be in a January and February, you know. And one of the things is often high winds.
Yeah.
And something like this, a windbreak that'll actually stand some wind. Mm-hmm. It'll be a real boon, you know.
Right, because you tend to go in because it's too windy.
Well, I was saying it's the main thing now that stops us from being outside, cooking outside and doing things is the wind, not the rain so much, you know. So that was just Tesco's lamb shank and red wine, wasn't it? Yeah, it was pretty good. I mean, that's gastropub standard, isn't it?
Yeah.
We'd have been, well, that was like that. That was 8 quid for the lamb shanks. Tatties were £1, 9 quid.
Aye.
£4.50 each.
They'd have been 30 at least.
Yeah, 15 each, minimum. Yeah. We came close to feeling like we did in Spain, didn't we, today? Although we've got the cat sitting and stuff and commitments, you know. But today, having the van door open and cooking a bit and walking in and out was a bit...
Oh, it's a big bonus being able to have the fence open, the van door.
Yeah. Well, I suppose we'd better wash up now before it gets cold and... No, I'll tidy up everything else, you know.
I suppose.
And then all we need to do now is say hello to Cleo and Charlie and Joey. And we hope everybody has a great week. Don't know how this will turn out. No. All I can say is, like, the next one, which might be 2 weeks, we're going to one of the Western Isles. The one that I know inside out because I was brought up there, you know. Looking forward to that. And it's a ferry job, of course. It's not Skye.
No.
Skye's a bridge.
Aye.
It's a ferry job.